Alright. So, my 2018 Mazda 3, it's got 37,000 miles on it. I've already changed the rear brakes once, rear brake pads to clarify. I've been wondering at what point I'd need to replace the front brake pads, and over the weekend I think I'm pretty clear now would be a good time to do that. So you can feel a little bit of vibration upon braking. That's always a sign that you should give your brakes some attention. So I am about to do my front driver's side brakes. So let's get started. Let's get our car jacked up into the air so you can take off this driver's side wheel. So the first thing we got to do, we've got to take this bolt off here and then this bolt off here. So let's get these two bolts removed. I believe they were 14 millimeters. It's a righty-tighty normally, but because they're mirrored, it's righty-loosey. And definitely wear your gloves or you will definitely cut your damn skin. So now the plan will be to remove this portion, and we're gonna hang this out of the way from the spring here. Should hold pretty well. All right, that's out of the way. You can see how I did that. Just a piece of metal to hold that out of the way. To make things easy, I'm going to remove this bolt and this bolt. I think they were 17 millimeters. Confirmed, yep. And because it's so tight in here, I can only use the impact to loosen it. But that's enough to get me what I needed. All right, so we have removed our bolts. So nothing is holding this caliper on anymore. So with the rust, we're still gonna have to give this thing a good bump. Give this a little love tap. Okay. So a little bit of uneven wear. Yeah, but these pads still had life in them. I'm gonna change them anyway, just to do so. But that means I'm gonna have to check the rears, because something was giving me a pulsing in my braking. So, it's a big heavy cast iron caliper. But anyway, you've got these little metal clips. Those are kind of a, I don't know, I want to say sleeve, basically, that allows the pads to slide freely, or at least that's the hope or intent, because the rest of the cast iron is going to rust, and rust does not allow easy sliding. It's very strong with friction. So anyway, we're gonna maneuver the pads out of there. We're gonna remove these old clips, And then we're gonna clean up the rust. We're gonna put in new clips. We're gonna lubricate the clips, and then we're gonna put in the new pads. And then we will reassemble. Cool. It's probably not the SAE standard for removing brake pads, obviously. But I'm not going to use these old ones for anything. They're now junk to me. Just don't damage anything on the actual surrounding, the actual caliper. Okay, so that's our caliper. Now let's use some pliers and we will yank off the old sleeve clips here. Again, doesn't matter if I break them, they're junk. The flathead screwdriver seems like it's the best tool. You can get a little prying action in there. There we go. So, you're going to want to put on safety glasses for sure if you haven't had them on already, because we're going to really try to clean up the areas here before we put the sleeves in, and you don't want any of that rust going in your eyes. All right, so hopefully you can see a little bit of what I'm doing, but I just really want these grooves to be cleaned out. Everywhere that the metal clips need to go should be free of rust, or as free as you can comfortably get it. All right, we're pretty good. We're ready to go get the new clips. So the clips should go like that. The spring should be on the bottom. And you should be able to just force them into place. Just like that. It's a tough camera angle to capture, and I apologize for that. Okay, that's what we needed, that's what we wanted. Okay, now let me get some, they do make special brake lubricant, but I'm going to try out marine grade grease. I'll try to coat every surface of the clip. Alright, so let's get our first brake pad out here. And you got to be very careful to not get any of the grease on the pad surface. That would be bad. If you did, you'd want to use either degreaser or brake cleaner to remove that grease from the pad surface. And I'm going to hit the metal tips here. Just want to be certain that these pads are going to slide or float freely, or at least with the minimum of friction. Alright, let's see if we can get this in there. So this is where the springs come into play. So go about halfway into the depth, so they're halfway on the springs, and then try to rotate. Cool, that's one of them. And then I'm going to slide it open a little bit. And now let's do the second. Let's see if we can get this newly loaded caliper to fit over the rotor. Probably we'll have to compress the piston. Put the bigger bolt in first. Getting that hand tight. Perfect. Now the second one up top. Go hand tight. I'm gonna give the pads a little squeeze. Okay. And if you do have one of these brake compressors, it can be helpful. There's other tools you could use to compress this cylinder, but I did buy this, I think for $9 maybe at AutoZone. I'm going to use that. So since these are thicker pads, the distance this piston has been out resting, starting with, compensated for the wear of the old pads. So now that the new pads are thicker and brand new, it's necessary to compress this piston back in here. So can be tough to do with just your bare hands unless you're super strong. So I'm going to use this to force it back in. Hope you can see that. And that'll work to slowly compress it. You could use other tools, but basically you just don't want to hurt the rubber boot that it's surrounded by. It keeps it sealed, but you just want to get that all the way in there. All right, done. So now we're ready to fit that back over. So I'm going to loosen my metal holding rod here. So the other thing that can happen, these bolts also have these rubber boots, and they're filled with grease typically, and they move. So the bottom one's sticking out a little. It's a little too proud. So I'm gonna need to compress that a bit. There we go. All right. So now we're in position. So we can hand tighten these bolts. These were the 14mm bolts. Okay. Once you get one done, the second one's usually easy. So now I'm going to fully tighten up the 17mm bolts. Again, so righty-tighty, but again, because it's mirrored in reverse, so now it's actually counterclockwise to tighten. So let's get this tightened up. Probably should have tightened it before I put the assembly back on, but no big deal. Okay, when it comes to tightening up these 14mm guys, you got to prevent this other nut from turning. You don't want to warp the boot. So we got to hold the adjustable wrench steady while you're tightening the bolt. If anybody has ideas for a better tool to fit in there, well, let me know. I'd love to change what I'm using. Okay. All right. We're good to go. Let's put our wheel back on. All right, so we're at 37,422 miles. Let's go do a test drive. We'll head through the neighborhood first at lower speed before we get to the main road. Don't want to risk not being able to stop, of course. Feel good. Another hard stop. Yeah, those feel nice. Pulsating seems to be gone. The brake pad feel from the pedal is now really solid and really good. Confidence inspiring. So anyway, another few thousand miles and I'll check on the rears. I'm not going to do it today. I think they're fine. They've only got 10 or 11,000 miles on them, so it should be good for way more than that. The other ones went 28,000 miles. So anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know if you have questions. I'll do my best to answer. So take care.